I wanted to give you guys an update on where we are on the milling here. I finally got the program proven and I think it's working good now. I did have to make a modification to it and we did that. I ran the part again and it's working pretty good. It's working really well. So I'll point out that I decided to use the Adaptix vise right here, and that worked out really good because I was able to adjust this so that it's clamping on both of these diameters right there, which is important because those are the ones that we're machining. Now this was my first setup and I had planned to use this and then decided I wanted to try the Adaptix to see if that would work, and it did, and it's working out just fine. So I doubt that we're gonna use that setup right there. These are my two sample shafts. So these are the ones that were slightly out of tolerance. So I'm using those for our guinea pig on our keyway setup right there. And this one, this side right there, I've got a gauge block right there that I'm using to check it. Now this is the actual key stock that we're using that I cut to go with this. This is a 5mm key stock. And it is fitting that key perfectly. You can stick it down in there and it'll kind of stand up like that. And if I push it, you can push it all the way down into your finger, and it's just tight enough that I can't actually grab it with my fingers. I have to use some pliers to pull it out at that point. So I think we actually have a good fit right there where we at, maybe slightly on the tight side. So I went in here to my tool and I adjusted it by 2/10. And I think on the next one, hopefully it's going to cut that keyway about 2/10 bigger and make it where it's not quite as tight as it is right now. But I think it would be good just where it's at, because you can always take this key stock and just dress the side either on a file or a lapping plate to kind of get it to fit the keys right. So it's working pretty good. But what I wanted to show you, what we found out, I'm going to go ahead and loosen this guy up. You'll notice that side, keyways don't quite look right. They're a lot wider. And what we've ended up having to do, I'm using tool number 12. We had to set the diameter to 0. And that is what I was told. I've been working with Kevin on this. And he said, let's change that tool diameter to 0. And he thought that that was going to fix the problem. And that's exactly what we did. We've got 2 keys cut on that side that are right on size, doing pretty good. And all I've done since then, I went in there and adjusted the diameter by a -2/10 to see if we can widen it out by a couple of tenths there. I can get the 146 gauge block, I'm sorry, 196 stack up to fit in there. I cannot get the 0.197 stack up to fit in there. So we'll see if we can get a couple of tenths out of it. So our program is looking good. Now we can go ahead and move forward with our cutting. I'm going to go ahead and take this other sample here, our other out of tolerance shaft, and put it in here. I'm going to run it one more time just to make sure, and I wanted to see if that changes the fit with our difference in the tool table there for our diameter. I'll show you my setup here. So I've got some parallels in there to bring it up to the correct height. We're setting it on this diameter right there, and then notice that we're using these 2 jaws here for our stop or locating workpiece location. Slide it up against that. So I'll push it down to square it up, push it against the jaws there, and then we go ahead and snug the vise up. And it doesn't take a whole lot to hold these guys. There's really not a lot of cutting pressure on these. And that's good. We'll go ahead and rerun this now. Maybe you guys can see that. I'm going to jog it down kind of slow. Just to make sure that everything is clear in the camera there where we got it mounted up at. I think we're good there. So this is a tool path that Fusion generated, and it's just running back and forth, and it's going down in a negative direction in Z at 2 degrees ramp. So once it finishes ramping down to the bottom of the key, it's going to reset, and it's going to come around and cut both sides of the key to widen it out to the 5mm width that we called out. Now it's going to do the widening. One cut down each side. All right, now to the other side there. And it's just going to repeat it. It's just a longer key there. Total cycle time is 3 minutes and 19 seconds. Not too bad. I know that we have some improvements that we could make there, but now that we got this going, I'm not going to complain with 3.5 minutes per shaft there, since we only got 8 of them to do. But I think that's going to work out pretty good there. I'm going to go ahead and just, let me see if I can get rid of some of the coolant and the chips without getting it everywhere. That's this little piece of key stock, and it's got a good fit. I think our 2/10 actually made an improvement there. It still has a slight friction fit there. I think that's perfect. That's going to work out good. Now I can pull it out with my finger, I think. There you go. All right, we're ready to get moving on the rest of these guys now. It's really proven to be tricky trying to get a camera inside these CNC machines to where it clears everything. It doesn't run into coolant lines or tools over here or even the door out here. So I'm going to do this one handheld. I've got this just so that the coolant that's slinging straight out, it's slinging off of the collets. And I want to try to get the door open here so I can get a little bit of footage. And I think this might act as a nice little guard to keep the coolant from spraying right here on me. So let's go for it here. Put my glasses on. We are ready to start. Yeah, that's working pretty good. You can see the coolant hitting the shield there. In case you guys might be wondering about that coolant line, that's the Piranha cooling line. I've got this little kit right here. This is the 1/4 inch system. It's sort of like a little universal kit, so you can kind of build out a custom little coolant nozzle system. And this is the first time that I'm running it. This is the first job, so it's kind of like a test to see. But it's a really nice little ball swivel joints on there. So it stays in place. You can tighten it up so that it actually stays in place, or you can have it just tight enough so that you can actually move it around. But it's doing good so far. So I doubled it up and just I used the Y connector that came with the kit. and just made 2 nozzles on there. And they have different nozzles that you can put on there too for different types of spraying needs. I think we're just about at the bottom of this one. That's something that I need to learn how to fix in Fusion, is to get this to come where I want to. It's just, it's set to where it goes to the home position, which is over here. So that's going to be our very first finish shaft that we'll actually send out. I'm going to go ahead and double check it again and make sure that our key is still good. But other than that, it looks like we've got a good program on our hands, and I'm going to keep running these guys. Okay, that was number 7. We've got number 8 left to go, and then we'll be through with our machining. Well guys, that is going to wrap up this CNC project right here, making these pinion shafts. I am real happy with the way that they look, the way that they turned out, and the way that they milled. All of our finishes, everything is spot on, right on the size that I designed them to be, and I'm real happy with it. And I think my customer is going to appreciate these things as well. So next step is to get these guys packaged up and get them sent up there to them. And as I had mentioned before, these are going to be spare shafts that they're going to have on their shelf next to their machine, so that if they have one break or wear out. The problem that they had with the original pinions is that they were made as one whole piece, and the gears would get worn and they would need to replace it because of the worn gear. And with these kind of shafts right here, they can press the gear off and put a new one on. And I don't know whether if that's what they're going to do or just simply pull it. They're going to grab another one on the shelf that's ready to go, get it in the machine, and just keep on trucking. And I think that's the process that they're going to be going with. But real happy with the way they turned out here. We only had the 2 here that were just slightly out of spec. I've got these guys painted blue there so that I just know which ones they are by looking at it. And I like to keep these guys around here in the shop as mementos to look back on as I'm going down this CNC journey, trying to learn how to do this type of machine work here. This one technically could be used right there. It's just the bearing journals were slightly out of the bottom side of the tolerance, and of course I didn't want to give them a shaft that's out of tolerance there. So this one's going to be mine right here just to keep, but this one's also a good reference to look at if we have to go back and revisit these guys. They might have another one that needs to be machined, and what I found is that all of these dimensions here on this side are the same. It's just the overall length has changed between the 3 different shafts that I have made for them. So I'll have that one there as just a keepsake and a sample to reference there. This has really been another fantastic project for me to continue my education, training, learning, and practice over here on our Milltronics CNC machines. As I had mentioned before, Kevin over at Mechanical Advantage is who I've been using to help with some training, and I have been working with him every week now, you know, a few hours every week. And it's really nice the way that he runs his business. You can get on his website and you can see what time slots are available, and there's usually quite a few available there, and you can kind of select the time that works for your schedule. You know, he starts at like, I think 6 in the morning and goes until like 8 o'clock at night. So for people that, you know, have to go to work and then maybe they come home and they have a couple hours that they can do some training. If you're looking for some fusion training, I highly recommend to check out his website and use Kevin. He's very knowledgeable on Fusion 360. I can tell he's got a YouTube channel there that I have been checking out his videos, and I can tell just by watching his videos that he really knows his stuff and he understands that software big time. So I think he's going to be a big help for me going forward with more of my training. I'm only still just taking baby steps on what it is that you can do on CNC work here, but knocking out little jobs like this is really helping me along the way. Every little thing that I do, even coming over here to the machine and doing repetition parts. Like whenever I had started this, I had cut up that other shaft material and I was practicing. And what that allowed me to do is to get more and more practice of the controls over here on the Milltronics and remembering the F keys and what you have to go into in order to get the machine to work the way you want. I know all you guys that run CNCs, you know all about this stuff. I'm just simply saying that it's going to take me a while to remember these things, remember how to use the keys on here, and the same thing with Fusion. Just constant practice. Got to do it every week so that you continue to remember what it is that you learned and you can keep moving forward with that. And that's what I've got to do from this point on, is just continuing that training and continuing that practice. And I really think that Kevin at Mechanical Advantage is going to be a big help with this for me. All right, so that is it. I'm going to get these guys wrapped up and get them sent up there to the customer. And I hope that you enjoyed watching the videos. I try to get you some interesting content there, interesting shots of different things that we're doing, you know, from material handling, getting them in there, getting the cuts done, the deburring, all that kind of stuff that all takes place whenever you're manufacturing parts like this. All right, so that's it. We will see you guys on the next project.